All religion, true religion, comes from Allah. That's the Islamic perspective. Okay, religion is not what people invent for themselves. Actual true religion comes from Allah, because we take it upon faith as a part of faith that there is a creator. And there's various proofs for that we don't need to get into, but assuming that there is a creator and assuming that the creator is merciful, then the creator, out of his mercy, wants to guide. He wants to guide human beings as to what is right and what is wrong. It would be unjust or unfair if the creator were to leave us groping in the dark, not knowing what was right and what was wrong or what to do. And so he communicates, and he communicates through prophets, messengers, revelation. So we believe that all true religion is the communication from the divine, authentic, actual communication from the divine. And anything that anybody else made up, human beings came up with themselves, is false religion. Doesn't deserve to be called religion because it's not actually what Allah communicated. Okay then, well, how can we tell what is actually authentic communication from the divine, from the creator, and what's made up by human beings? That's the million-dollar question. In Islam, we believe that every single communication previous to ours has been either lost or changed or corrupted somehow through the passage of time. And people only need to go to the most recent revelation before Islam, before the Quran, which was the Bible, the gospel given to Jesus, in order to see how easily this thing happens. Anybody, and Christians themselves admit this, anybody who looks into the preservation of the gospel of Jesus knows very, very well that what we have in quote-unquote scripture is not a very accurate depiction of what Jesus actually said or did. There's lots of different contradictions, there's lots of irregularities, and even just the preservation of the text itself is very, very shoddy. That's the closest revelation that was given to a prophet before Muhammad was given the Quran, alayhi salatu wasalam. So what about those that are even older? What about the Torah given to Moses? What about the other possible prophets that we don't even know about? Because Allah tells us in the Quran the identity of some prophets, and He also does not tell us the identity of others. And so because all of these messages were either lost or changed, or they're not entirely preserved, it necessitated a renewal of that message. That's why Allah, the Creator, kept on sending messengers. Okay? If they had all been completely preserved, then maybe there wouldn't have been a need. But the fact that they weren't necessitated that the Creator continued to communicate what He wanted from us. And so the last one and the final one was the Quran. It's in late antiquity. The world is becoming smaller. You have a very unique language, like the Arabic language, that is very, very systematic and has been very, very well preserved. You have a culture that basically takes pride in its ability to memorize orally, and then very soon after are able to write everything down and meticulously keep the records on what was said and how it was conveyed. It was the perfect storm, historically, for the appearance or the revelation of a text that would be preserved forever. And so Islam, in some sense, is not something new, in an important sense. And the sense that I'm talking about is that it is simply the last manifestation or the last communication from the Creator. And that central message that the Creator has always been communicating, which is Tawheed, the worship of one God alone, is completely unchanged. When it comes to other things, small things, what we should do, the types of rules and regulations, they vary slightly from community to community. But Islam is the last software update. Islam is the last type. Everything else has been replaced, and there's no need for it anymore because Islam has been preserved, whereas the others have not. That does not affect the way in which Muslims are supposed to act with people of other religions, okay? And this is a very, very hard thing for people that have a historically European Christian experience to understand. Because throughout European Christianity, or the history of European Christianity, if you disagree with someone on religion, you fought them. You killed them, you oppressed them, you persecuted them, whether it was France or England or Germany or anywhere else. For a long time, you weren't allowed to believe in a religion, even a Christian sect that wasn't the Christian sect of your Lord in the feudal system. We don't know that when it comes to Islam. That's not our way. And so when it comes to us believing that we have the truth, 100% Muslims believe we have the truth. We have the final revelation, the perfect book, the preserved revelation. And yet we are instructed in our revelation to respect other people and to treat other people with honor, and even to revere, in a certain understanding of the word, their customs and their traditions and their even understanding of their religion. Allah tells us in one of the chapters of the Quran, the 6th chapter, He says, don't curse the idols of others, even if we think that they're idols. Don't curse them. Because if you do, then they're going to turn right around and curse God. They're going to curse the real Creator. And so that's a paradigmatic sort of principle, a guiding sort of axiom for how we're to treat other people. So there's a difference between belief, and this is, a lot of people confuse this these days. There's a big difference between believing you're right and treating other people with respect. We can believe that we're 100% correct and that you guys are wrong and still respect you and still give you respect and honor that you deserve as a human being, just like anybody else.